Emotional incest is more typically top-down in terms of the hierarchical structure of the family. So it would usually imply that the person engaging in the emotional incest is in a superior position of power. So where incest, regular incest, could be between any family members, regardless of the power structure, the power dynamic within the family unit, emotional incest is typically from parent to child. We're distinguishing, so we're saying an inappropriate, boundary breaking, and abusive way of relating to a family member, particularly from a parent to a child, or from a grandparent to a child, or an uncle or an auntie to a niece or a nephew. So it's top down, but it's an inappropriate relationship that breaks boundaries and results in trauma for the person who's having it heaped upon them. Implicit in this, as concurrent with incest, would be a lack of consent. The people involved, or the target for the emotional incest, is not and cannot. They're actually not capable of consenting. There's no way within that particular power dynamic that consent is even a possibility. So, okay, one is fairly easy to understand. Incest, inappropriate sexual relations between family members. Emotional incest, top-down incest that's non-physical, but is emotional, but it's an inappropriate relationship that is boundary breaking and results in trauma. What would that look like? If a parent uses, and therefore abuses, one of their children to behave and to fulfill the duties that should be done by another adult, i.e. their partner, that would be the classic case for emotional incest. If a mother treats her son the way she should be treating her husband, her lover, or her friend, that's emotional incest. If a father is treating his son, his daughter in the same way, that would be emotional incest. It's the heaping onto the child the roles and the responsibilities of an adult, of a lover. And you'd say, well, how could that possibly not be physical? How could that not be sexual? It might not be sexual if a son is forced into the role of being confessor or psychotherapist or sounding board for the mother. Well, that would have been the role that would have been appropriate for her husband or for her partner. If the father is forcing his daughter or his son to listen to adult level rants about his frustrations in the workplace, even completely non-sexual, completely nothing to do with what we would usually consider incest, that would still count as emotional incest, because the daughter or the son in that scenario is being used as to fulfill a role or a responsibility that can only and should only be fulfilled by an adult. And because they're being forced and they cannot consent and they do not consent, it is abuse. If you look at it almost in a medical way, the symptoms of the abuse would be directly commensurate with the type of trauma. Well, where's the trauma occurring? If I punch you in the nose, the symptoms will be around your nose not working very well. So similarly, if you get punched in the boundaries, or your boundaries, if you take a kick right in the boundaries, then your boundaries will swell up and be really sore. I've got really sore boundaries today. Where there's emotional incest, the attack is on the child's boundaries, and they will have poor boundaries. Now there's a sentence, all of language is reductive, all of the English language is particularly good at reducing complicated ideas and making it sound very pat and very closed, especially when it's delivered in a clipped English accent. It sounds like it all makes sense and it's all logical, but of course it isn't particularly logical. I hope that helped. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and I will take questions next time.